subdued for the time being by some otherwise calm and cool weather. We appreciate that. We love the rains. We cannot live without the rain, the very way we cannot live without the sunshine. So we are thankful to God for His wisdom in giving us that which we need, and very often in the correct measure. So we are happy for today and for the blessings and benefits that today, Wednesday, the 30th day of September, the end of September 2020, offers. And of course, it's interesting how we have come to the end of another month. Tomorrow we begin a new month, the month of October, and we hope that this month, September, would have been a positive one, constructive one which brought along some good news, better news than the month of August or the months prior. We hope that September was in fact a good month for you, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that you were able to draw closer to Jesus Christ. We hope you were able to help somebody. We hope that you were able to liaise with someone to be inspired. We hope you were able to learn something from this session, Frank and Candid. We hope you were able to feel that life is worth living, that you're not alone, and that you yourself were able to contribute to the benefit. You were able to bring a blessing to others. To the benefit of others, bring a blessing to others. So we're thankful for the month of September. Of course, we don't take for granted the fact that we have been blessed with a good portion of health, such that we are able to move about, use all our senses, remain active in the community, be able to understand what's going on around us, be able to contribute to our own well-being and to that of our neighbors and community and country. We do not take these things for granted. Please, let us not take any of the many blessings that we enjoy every day for granted. Let's not wait until we are sick to appreciate the benefits of health. Let us not wait until we lose a neighbor to understand how very beneficial he or she can be, of course, in most circumstances. So today, Wednesday, midweek, end of September, we have another open line today, of course, and we want to discuss a couple of things. You, of course, have the handle, as it were. You decide to a large extent, when it's open line, what route the discussion would take, what would be the major points of emphasis. And so we welcome you and your call. It's at 465-2555 here on Frank and Candid. Someone asked me to ask the audience to give some feedback on the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden last night. For those of you who would have listened, I didn't. I really did not have much interest. Of course, I know that whatever happens in the United States impacts perhaps directly to a large extent on what happens here in St. Kitts, because we being who we are, a minuscule micro-state, small island developing state, we being one of the puniest of nations on this vast planet, we really don't have much sway on the international scene. And the United States, of course, being the most powerful country in the world still, in a number of ways, exercises a lot of clout and power on the world stage. And we being so close to the United States, we definitely need to be following what's going on there. But in my mind, not in such intimate details at times, and I did not consider the debate to be of vital importance to what happens in St. Kitts. Of course, what the candidates say could very well be very different to what they actually pursue when they get elected. So whatever Mr. Biden said or Mr. Trump said, when he gets elected, whichever one, he no doubt will want to appease the base of his support, and he might very well retract on some of what he's saying now during these debates. Not necessarily, but in all probability, we should expect that. So if you did listen and you would like to give us a quick feedback, you can do that. What do you think of the debate between Joseph Biden and Donald Trump last night. I've been hearing that by and large it could be described as not very professional, not very friendly, but chaotic to a large extent. So let's take this caller here, see what he says.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Yes, sir.
If you are being disturbed, it's the blessings of God coming on that we've been waiting for a long time. Rain.
Disturbed? Of course not. No, disturbed.
Okay, and it's saying pitter patter, pitter patter.
Yeah, I like the sound of the rain.
Me too. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did not listen or watch the debate last night in the States because I was more focusing on what's going on here.
Right.
With the PM's program.
Right.
But Mr. Blake, let me tell you something here, brother. The devil, I don't know where he get energy from. But he come like he going in a gym. Because these times the devil, well strong, and he got more endurance. Now we have this worldwide criminal called Mr. COVID-19 epidemic.
Right.
He have killed a lot of innocent people and he's still killing more. But we have another one pop up again. Since this morning I come out here, exactly 9 o'clock when ZAZ was bringing on the morning news. My phone ring. I pick it up and I look on it. I see 1-800 number. I said, that's an overseas thing. Well, I thought it was the people them calling me about the problem that we have with the money wiring business.
Yes.
Then hear how they're saying, hi, good morning. I say, well, that's a white person voice. Anyway, it doesn't matter the color. Do you know you have just won yourself $12,000? I say, hold on there. I did not enter any competition. So what you telling me I won myself $12,000? He said, okay, can I ask you some questions? I say, yes. Go ahead. She said, what's your social security number? I said, which one you want? St. Kitts or America? She said, where you calling from? Where you answering from? Jamaica? I said, St. Kitts. Then I said, what you want me social security number for?
So she doesn't even know where she's calling?
Right. Then I said, my social security number is 919. 121. Not. And she said, you're joking. I said, you're joking because I didn't enter a competition. So when you come telling me that I've been $12,000, I said, I can tell you something. These con artist behavior that you all still distributing to people and innocent people, do not call back this phone number here. And take you this your tararara off of my phone and don't call me back and slam up my phone. So I warning people, when you get them kind of call you, tell them what you got to tell them and hang up your phone. They need to stop it. How the hell in the world are you going to win something and me and enter in a competition? Right there and then, people trying to con you. So I'm just alerting people, be on the watch for them here. Okay, Brother Blake.
Thank you for that advice.
Thank you, man.
And clearly, I don't believe these things are going to stop. I don't believe any form of sin and wrong is going to stop as long as man lives. I think only when Jesus the Christ returns and cleanses the earth, that these things will cease. But I think that until such time, no matter how stringent law enforcement operations are, no matter how cooperative the various governments engage in one another, however cooperatively they engage in one another, I don't believe these things are going to stop. There will always be men and women who see potential benefits to be derived from fleecing others, from fooling others, from deceiving others. And don't forget that the heart of man is deceitful and desperately wicked, such that nobody can understand it. So, the answer to me is to be on the alert and not fall for these scams. But I don't believe that they will stop. So I would recommend to the caller that he does not await that day, unless, of course, it is the day when Christ returns. But I believe these things will continue. All forms of wrong and bad and evil will continue. Men will continue to delight in them. You'll be surprised at how much pleasure and satisfaction some men experience from doing what is wrong. And this is why I always argue that we have a right to be wrong, but not a right to do wrong. And what these men and women are doing is wrong. They are doing wrong. So I'm glad that he did not fall for it. Of course, we still have to be polite, irrespective of the circumstances. We have to let them know that as Kititians, even though they're trying to fleece us, we still retain that level of dignity and respect. So we let them know politely but firmly, very assertively, hey, wrong person. Please take your... We'd appreciate it if you don't try to con anybody else, but definitely take your scam elsewhere. So be on the alert, ladies and gentlemen, for calls like that. Imagine the lady's calling, she doesn't even know where she's calling. I guess she's one of those who figures anything that has to do with the Caribbean is Jamaica. Right? Jamaica is the center, the beginning, the end of all things Caribbean. That kind of ignorance still exists. So just be on the alert. Okay, we still would like somebody to tell us if he or she called in. Sorry, if he or she listened to the discussion, the so-called debate between the contenders for the US presidency, to give us some feedback. But we wanted to look today, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, at the CXC results, which have just been returned and just been promulgated and discussed to some extent by the Ministry of Education during a press conference on Monday. Okay, we got some statistics, and some of us, some person would accept them at face value, and others of us would go beyond those mere numbers, those mere that kind of statistical data, and we will go beyond and get below the surface and look at what these mean, what the trends portend, what do they tell us. So if you wish, you can make a comment on that as well. What I'd like to share with you is the fact that CXC began operations in 1972, of course, and offered the first set of exams at CSEC 1979 and CAPE in 1998. Now, these were designed to, at first, be a counter to the long-standing GCE, Cambridge General Certificate of Examinations exams, General Certificate of Education exams, which had started since 1951. So a lot of us who are of a certain age group would have been exposed to GCE, and then CXT came along and took over, as it were. I am one of those who believe that person should have had the option of continuing to write as a GCE syllabus as opposed to being obliged to do a CXT syllabus. But such is the case. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Brother Blake.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't really follow up the politics in America. Eh?
Right.
I know with the Caribbean politics here.
Okay.
Because since the COVID-19 and since Donald Trump there as the president, and saying and doing all kind of things, I don't really interested. I know America is a great country, and we depend on a lot on America. But still, that we got a lot of people out there in America working, sending back the money back here and all those things, and we got to be interested in our people. But you know, America is a country that we used to be the superpower, and I don't think it's a super now. China is taking over, and I believe that is what caused the situation of this corona to kill out the whole world. Now, Brother Blake, I want to commend the Honorable Prime Minister and the program Leadership Matters. And the Honorable Eric Evelyn, I think last night was informative to the Federation of the Health, that people could have called into the Prime Minister and call into the Minister of Environment and talk about the health problem in the Federation. And talking about the guy was on, I think he was a PS.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that one either, so I can't help you there. Sorry.
I think he already, not environment. I think he already, he was the PS for the. Anyway, like the building and so, building and all those things and so, right?
Yes.
I forget the name. And I want to commend him to your update and
Mr. Pemberton.
Going on, because so much inform come from the government. and people are saying they ain't hearing nothing, they ain't hearing this, they ain't hearing that. And the Prime Minister come on at Tuesday, and try to inform the Federation. And he don't come on here as no ask no PM. He come on as the Prime Minister and got a government minister, or got somebody from the government, a permanent secretary or whatever, and he tried to inform the people and update the people of what's going on, especially under this deadly coronavirus. We're plaguing the whole world. So I just want to commend the Team Unity government going forward. I hear a lot of hips and gypsies there, but I just want my people of this federation to stand firm with a Team Unity. Brother Blake, you have a wonderful day. God bless. Culture, good morning.
Very well. Okay. So commendations are in order for the leadership of the country, political leadership, in terms of attempting to explain to and share with the public matters of national import. And in as much as we are not obliged to listen, we should listen, definitely, if not every time, from time to time at least, to get insights and ideas as to what is taking place. And since we have an opportunity to call in and make comments and question and so on, definitely that's a privilege that we should perhaps latch on to whenever we get the opportunity. All right, now the caller also said that as far as he's concerned, the United States is losing its super status or superpower status to China. There's a lot of debate and discussion now there with respect to that. What I would say that for me personally, I would certainly prefer that the superpower status be retained with the United States than with China. Of course, maybe none of them should have it. Maybe we should all attempt to be equal to the greatest extent possible. But if one is going to be super or superordinate or superior to the other, me personally, speaking for myself, I would definitely prefer that be the United States as opposed to China. But there are those who would argue, and I believe that there is a lot of truth in the statement that the United States, like so many other great powers before it, is not going to die from murder, but from suicide. That is to say, it is too powerful, it is too mighty, it is too strong for any other country to defeat it. It is going to die from self-destroying, by destroying itself. It would have self-destruct. It would have died from suicide. It would have killed itself from its own internal conflicts and its own problems from within, as opposed to being taken over by any other country. Let's take this caller. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Blake.
Mm-hmm.
I share the same sentiment with what you said about America will die by suicide. Because no other country will be able to floor America up on the ground. No way, otherwise the Lord going to put in the foot, as predicted in the Bible, and He going to do what He has to do. Now, I keep wondering if this Corona-19, when it was 19, is 20 now, if this year was originated on another smaller island or smaller country than China, what would have happened to that country? Especially down in the Caribbean. The amount of sanction and all kind of thing will have happened to that country who legged that deadly disease. And I don't know if anybody really know what it's made from. But according to where it come from and the mentality of them, I think that was the trick to kill as many people in the world so that they now could move up in the front line and be the boss. But it is not right. It is not right. That is something of the devil they had set up there in China. And it get where the back bus and it leak out. And they couldn't pull it back and control it. So see where he gone now? See where he gone? We are innocent of that. The most guilty people of that is up in China. But if it was a little country, especially in the Caribbean, oh my God, all of them will have gotten in the biggest court and the most courthouse for what we do. Thank you, Brother Blake.
Okay. Yeah, but we must admit that the United States does not impose sanctions on other countries based on their size. The very largest country in the world, which is almost twice as large as the United States itself, Russia, has been the subject of many sanctions by the United States. So that we have to admit that. Let's take this other caller. Hello.
Mr. Blake, good morning.
Good morning.
I am listening to you, right?
Yes, sir.
I tend to, in a sense, to disagree because the United States, as mighty as they are, you understand, a little tiny flu, according to their president, you know, look how it has them. They can't even cope with a little tiny flu. A tiny flu. I mean, the leading country in the world where this coronavirus is concerned. And I think the United States need to take heed of what is going on, you know, concerning the amount of people that has been infected and who die. You understand? They're not dying by the guns and the bombs, you know. A little tiny flu. That's my contribution, Mr. Blake. Have a pleasant day.
Okay, and COVID-19 is a virus, not a flu, but let's take this other caller before we comment on that, or attempt to. Hello, caller.
Brother Blake.
Yes.
Brother Blake, if we got so much scientists and so much powerful men in the world that could do all kind of different things, could make plane, to fly plane, to do all kind of things in medicine and in drugs and all those things, and none of them up to now could come with a vaccine or something to deal with this corona. This corona is just, I believe, it's politics. This is a world politics to attack nation, attacking a nation, to wipe out some of these rich country in the world who have all them riches. I just believe it's politics. Some people say that the billions, the man them say that 2 billion got to go to the world got to get 7 billion, and they can't afford to feed the world, and they're trying to take out must be 2 billion now. I think over 2 billion, maybe nearly 2 billion people done dead. So it looks like they're going up to 3 billion now. You understand? To take out, and after the 3 billion people don't take out the world and lessen the population, I believe that they might they might introduce the vaccine. But I believe a vaccine don't get for it. But somehow this thing is politics, is a world politics, fighting against the great leaders them. You know, leaders fighting against leaders, nation fight against nation, and it's only so they could divide and conquer, and to get the people them how they want them. You understand?
Okay.
So I just believe that something in the matter beside the peaceful country, the old people them. Okay then, Brother Blake.
Okay, just have a few corrections here quickly before we take the other call. The population of the world as it stands today is much closer to 8 billion than 7. So we should really use that figure, 8 billion. Secondly, 2 billion persons having died from COVID is far from accurate. We are approaching the 1 million mark. The 1 million mark. So it's nowhere close to 2 billion. Not 1 billion, mind you, just 1 million. And of course, 1 billion is 1,000 million. So we are very far away from anywhere close to 1/4 of the world's population succumbing to COVID. Thankfully. Let's take this caller. Hello. Hello, caller. You're still there? Hello. Okay. Let's take him or her then. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Hello there. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Mr. Blake, I think I just heard a lot of part of your opening statement talking about the elections debate.
Right, I was asking for someone who looked or listened to give us some his or her feedback.
Yeah, you sound a bit muffled, but anyway, I thought that the debate last night was really despicable, to say it in one word. You know, I believe that the moderator, in my humble opinion, I'm not sure what powers or protocol that he had. But I believe that he should have really shown a little bit more control. At the same time, I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure what the protocol is or what powers he has. But I thought that the president was really out of order in many cases. You know, he should have really be a little bit more firm on the president with the interruptions all the time. Almost every time that Biden get up to talk, he interrupted him. And all in all, it didn't really get out all the plans and what they wanted to do for the U.S. I thought that was really lacking
It was more or less like a fish market kind of thing. Something kind of thing went on. And I thought that the moderator could have really, I believe you were the moderator. That would not happen. You would not tolerate that.
Well, we'll see.
I really think that, despite all of that, though, I think Biden look a lot more presidential. He tried to bring out a number of the things that he want to do and so forth. And then, you can see that, the president was really desperate. He realized he's losing, so he was just trying to talk all over the place without any substance.
So would you say that both of them received a failing grade, even though Biden, in your view, would have received the higher grade? Would you say they both received a failing grade, or one received a passing grade and the other a failing grade, in your view?
Could you repeat again? You sound a bit muffled.
Right, I'm saying, would you say that both candidates received a failing grade, even though Biden would have received the higher grade, because both of them could fail, of course, but one would receive a higher grade than the other?
Yes.
Do you think that Biden received the higher grade, or Trump received the higher grade? Do you think both of them failed, or one passed and one failed?
Received a higher grade, and I wouldn't term it as failing grade, but I thought he brought a lot.
Now, in your own subjective opinion, of course, in your own subjective individual opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I will not give him a failing grade at all, but definitely Trump will get a failing grade for me.
Okay.
That's it.
Very well.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Let's take another caller. Hello. All right. So, we need to when we are going to look at developments and examine trends, we need to do so in context, especially with respect to the history of that particular phenomenon or development. All right. So we're talking about COVID, and I'm going to devote. I promise I'm going to devote a session, I think sometime next week, a session or two to COVID, because COVID is not going anywhere. It has not gone, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. As a matter of fact, it seems to be returning, sometimes with fuller force than it did earlier. But it certainly seems to have made clear its intentions to stick around for some time yet. And in as much as we in St. Kitts, and I think maybe one of the reasons that we, because of our size, it's always easier to manage something like that in a small country than in a larger one. We have, in as much as we in St. Kitts, we have not suffered badly or poorly from COVID, we cannot be satisfied that everything is okay, because since we do not exist in isolation, since we have to cooperate with, communicate with, collaborate with other countries, we must be concerned as to what's going on elsewhere. But we are happy that COVID is causing problems, has caused a lot of problems, but the death rate really has not been anywhere close to what some persons predicted and to what some other diseases have inflicted on us, thanks be to God. Of course, it has incapacitated quite a few. It has decimated the economic performance, the economic strength of a lot of countries, and it is still causing havoc. But a lot of people seem to believe that it's not going to be brought under control until there's a vaccine. I don't believe that much thought is being given to the possible side effects of that vaccine, and we know there are lots of fears as to what the vaccine will entail. Some say it is designed to reduce the population of the world, targeting certain races. We'll see how that works. I don't subscribe to that view, but we'll see how that works. Let's take this caller. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Mr. Blakes.
Yes.
Yes.
Sir.
About the COVID, I really don't think, as I say, you have to dedicate some time for it, because I really don't think it's going anywhere now. I listened to BBC this morning, and according to what BBC said, that none of the British Airways is not going to leave Gatwick unless this COVID. As a matter of fact, anybody who get on the plane, if you're not clear of it, they're not going to let you out of England.
Right, you have to be tested first before you leave.
Yeah, so I don't think.
Which is good news for us.
Huh?
Which is good news for us. It means that at least the person, anybody coming here from the United Kingdom would have been tested and found positive.
Yeah, so they don't have
and
to go into
quarantine. And of course they'll be tested again when they arrive here. Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's going to go anywhere soon. Speaking about the debate, it was not up to par. I mean, for the leading nation of the world that was not a debate. I think even we don't hear, we just have harsh words. I think we'd have a better debate than that. It was not up to standard. For Mr. Trump, he was very rude. And the funny thing about it, that Fox, which is his station, is praising him the way he ruffled Mr. Biden. I mean, how could you approve of something which is so poorly? It makes your standard look even lower than what it is.
Yeah, that's a common thing, though.
Yeah. It was not up to par. I hope the next one is much better. And next week when they have the vice president one, I hope it's more better standard. There's a lot of people in tune for it, so it should be more better than that, man. All right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
I've been hearing that Biden's camp is suggesting that he not take part in any further debate, except there is rock solid guarantees that Trump will not repeat his behavior. Like I said, I did not see it, I did not hear it, but from what I've been reading this morning, Biden's camp is suggesting that he might not agree to take part in any further debates unless there is sound guarantees that Trump will not be allowed to repeat that kind of behavior, whatever it was that he exhibited last night.
But so, they had what? I think they had swear to it, the party, that 2 minutes and they're not going to interrupt. But they didn't get that cooperation.
Right. Well, this is what I'm saying, that I don't know what kind of guarantees they're going to get and to what extent they can confide in those guarantees. But that's the argument I was reading, that the Biden's campaign is suggesting he not take part in any further discussion with Trump on the similar conditions. And perhaps they may want to have a new, different moderator.
I don't think moderator will help. It's just the nature of Trump.
No. There are some moderators who I tell you will not allow Trump to get away with that kind of thing. I mean, the moderator controls the microphone. The moderator controls the debate.
That would have to be. I think last night they had missing that. I think they had need somebody to stop when one person is speaking. Someone stop that other mic.
Here in this forum right here at Frank and Candid, I do not control the microphones.
Oh, okay.
But that is different from what Mike Wallace and whoever the moderators are. They control the microphone, so they can silence the individual at their whim and fancy, as it were, and not be cowed. The moderator should not be cowed in any way by any incumbent or any opponent. I mean, he's supposed to do his job with objectivity, with fairness, and without fear or favor, of course. But that fear factor should not play a part in how he moderates. He should let Trump know, I'm in charge here. This is my space. This is my turf. In this debate, I am in charge. I am the moderator. I am in charge, brother man, not you. That's my view. All right, let's take a commercial break, station break, and we'll come right back.
St. Kitts and Nevis, hear this. Europa Hardware, the official steel dealer for garden power tools, announces its big Europa 6th anniversary sale. Take advantage of 15% discount off on weed eaters with a 1 pound trimmer line and a 1 liter engine oil. Chainsaws, blowers, hedge trimmers. In fact, all steel machinery store-wide is 15% off. Visit us on Keon Street in the Old Singer Building or call us at 465-4555 for Europa. Don't miss it. Europa's 6th anniversary sale, the 1st and 2nd of October. Europa Hardware, thanks to St. Kitts and Nevis for their continued support. Poinciana Restaurant on the Frigate Bay Road opens daily at 11 a.m. to serve you lunch and dinner. Whether you desire to dine in or take out, Poinciana Restaurant offers both to serve you better. Call Poinciana Restaurant at 465-5216 for your lunch or dinner takeout and reservations.
Why? What are you looking look so unhappy? And why your car light so yellow and your paint so dull?
Boy, look, has to be honest, right? Me kind of bad state, you know, and I realize, but I ain't even know where to go. I will want me car look and feel brand new again. Give me that good up feeling, you know what I mean?
Well, look no further, me boy. Double D Services auto detailing could get your lights bright as ever and buff your car like brand new. I wanna say brand new, I mean brand new. The man hard, I tell you. You just got to wear shades after he finished with your vehicle because it thing's so bright.
Well. That sounds excellent, Jed. Me, give me your number and location, do you see? Let me book an appointment.
Double D Services is located at Limefield Project in the village, Bastia, St. Kitts. You can contact them at 763-9362. You can also locate them on Facebook, Google, and Instagram. Double D Services, perfection in the details.
Eating healthy can help you last longer. Visit Ital Creations for the best in organic, vegan, and vegetarian dishes. Ital Creations serves vegan and vegetarian wraps, burgers, sandwiches, Ital gyros, salads, invigorating drinks, smoothies, and healthy snacks. Get the push you need to last longer. Call them for breakfast or lunch, 664-0994. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Ital Creations on the Bypass Road across from the Camp Springfield. Call to order 664-0994.
You need to visit Europa on the corner of Keon and Church Street and see to what extent you can patronize them, be a customer, because we're very thankful to them for sponsoring this Frank and Candid session on ZIZ every day. We have a caller. Let's take him or her. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Permit me to switch the topic to St. Kitts Nevis. Now, I have a question for you. What is the purpose of the voter's ID card?
Mm-hmm.
I want to continue. So, just explain the rationale for a voter's ID card.
Right. Well, I think, I remember I'm giving you my opinion. The voter's ID card serves as just another form of identification. Official government identification, it's a picture ID. So you can use it, in any situation which demands a photo ID. But it also should be serving to confirm that you're eligible to exercise the franchise in the Federation, that you are eligible, you have met the wherewithal, you have met the criteria to be able to vote in an election in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Well, my opinion, we really don't need it. To me, it's a waste of taxpayers' money.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you why. I'm in the U.S. and we don't use those things because they're not necessary. You see here, when you go to register, you sit down in front of the clerk and you give her your driver's license, your passport, or whatever to get the information that you could be registered. But all the time you there sitting, your picture has been taken and you don't even know. So on election day, when you go to vote and you come up in the line and you is next, you give them your name, have a tablet and they put in your name and you pop up, they could see your photo. So in other words, you do not have one where somebody could go and make one. Let me show you something. I had a friend working in a supermarket from Sandy Point. He hasn't been home in years. And he showed me a voter's ID card. He told me all they did was upload a photo. And he had a card. We need to get away from that. You understand? Because technically, anybody could make a photo ID. Anybody with a good computer and a printer could duplicate the thing and you wouldn't even recognize it until long after. So I think it's time we get away from this voter ID card and just have a photo of you in their system that when you say you is Peter Paul, they could see you. If you're not Peter Paul, there's a problem. You see my point?
I'm listening to you. I don't necessarily agree, but I definitely understand.
Again, that's a waste of taxpayers' money. I think they should done away with it.
Okay.
And it's not necessary. Those driver's license, they can be made because they do not have the security features in them. Whatever security features in there, it can be duplicated.
Excuse me, sir. Are you saying that we should do away with the voter's ID card or the driver's license or both of them or what? Which one?
No. I'm saying we do not need it to be able to vote. The only thing you should be able to vote is if you are registered.
Right.
So you do not need a card.
Yeah, but my understanding is that you get a card only when you're registered, or only if you're registered.
I understand what I also told you. I had a friend who got a card who wasn't being back home in years.
But isn't he a registered voter in St. Kitts?
Yes.
Exactly. So that entitles him to, he has not lost citizenship of St. Kitts. That entitles him, therefore, to apply for and receive a voter's ID. He's registered as a citizen of St. Kitts. He's registered, and so he's entitled to a card. Anyway, I agree with you that to the extent that the voter's card is not requested, it is not needed, it is not mandated in order for one to be able to vote. To that extent, it becomes unnecessary. And I would have thought that the idea was to have each person who stands up in the line to vote present his card, his national voter's card, in order to be allowed in to exercise his franchise. But that is not the case. So I'm saying that it is used at the moment mainly as another form, a useful form of identification, because remember, only persons who actually drive, who have done the driver's license, the driver's test, right, both written and practical, who would have a driver's license. So there are a number of persons who do not have driver's licenses, right? So the voter's ID would come in handy there. Lots of persons don't have passports. They've never traveled. And very often now one asks for at least 2 IDs. And so the Social Security card and the voter's ID, I believe, are the only 2 cards or forms of ID, government-issued ID, that most people have. So it serves that useful purpose. But to the extent that it is not used to facilitate voting per se, which I thought would have been the primary purpose, maybe to that extent one can argue that it is unnecessary. Hello. He's gone. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's take another caller. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sister.
Yes, tell the gentleman the card having our social security number, so the card is valid. He got them. You have in house, so what do you mean it ain't good?
No, he's not saying that it's not good. He's saying that it's not necessary, which is a different thing altogether.
You can't make it any guy in me. If the card guy my social security number, somebody else can take it and make it always. My number in there, my social security number.
Yeah, but you must remember that many people don't look for those details. You know, whoever is asking for an ID, they don't look for those details.
If they just make some Mr. Blake, let's just print it like that, put on, your face on it, bam, bam, and your age, and I would have said different, but you have any social security number. It's just like you say to me, you really can't go around use people's social security number. I mean, social security card, as you're like, well, they want to run it, chuck it down, because there's a number in it. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. That has some merit in it. But you have another caller? Yes,
yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Brother Blake.
Mm-hmm.
The card is just what you call a backup for the information that they have in their database. When you show up and they say, okay, you have a card? Yes. Give them the card. And they they compare the card to what they have in the database. So they have it in there. So if you go with a bogus card, they tell you, hello, no, this does not match the information that we gather from you in our database.
Yeah,
so
but
the person who's supposed to require or request the card from you, they are the one at the problem, not the taxpayers' money. So therefore, now look at this. People just counterfeit money. So because you go now with your counterfeit money, your counterfeit money is wrong. When they run the test on it, they tell you, no, something wrong here. So if you don't have no money, how can you go? How can you go up there? Go say you're going to go draw money or whatever it is.
Yeah, but the simple thing is that there is no document in this world that is not counterfeited.
Right.
Some are more easily counterfeited than others, but every document that man uses in every country is subject to counterfeit.
Exactly.
Okay, there's no question about that.
So because now they're going to counterfeit me thing, I must not have money in my hand? No, I supposed to have my money. That when I give you my money, you see that my money is legal. Now this thing here with the debating thing, I agree with the Carlo, my good friend in St. Croix. You would have done a far better job as the moderator for that thing there, Mr. Blake.
Okay.
And I want to tell you something, Donald Trump, he's suffering from disrespect malaitis. You see how he disrespect Miss Clinton before the first election for he? And he will never change. He will never change. That's he. That's the only way he could get to say what he's supposed to say. And he ain't even supposed to disrespect his opponent. Wait till the turn come to get up. If he's saying something wrong, you have a right then to raise your hand and interject there. But he being disrespectful because he's suffering from disrespectful malaitis. Thank you, Brother Blake.
Okay. Disrespectitis, brother. He's suffering from disrespectitis. Hello. Hello, caller.
Yes, hello?
Good morning to you.
Good morning. Now, I understand what caller was talking, what he was trying to say about the voters' ID. I mean, in reality, a lot of people have think it's voters' ID, and so the foot never enter into think it's to apply for the ID.
So how did they get one?
So I think that is the point he's trying to make. The ID is you have this ID. A lot of people have fraudulent ID because they didn't get it honestly. It was just given to them. When they did the numeration or whatever they did, you had to go in. You were supposed to be in St. Kitts, and you were supposed to go sit down in front of whoever, because that's what I did. Went in the village community center and sat there, and they asked my information, and they took my picture, and that's how I got my ID. But many people up here in America and Florida and all over, they got their ID, and they never put in St. Kitts.
Really?
But the point is, the thing about it is that you have the idea, like somebody said, you don't even have to present it on the day of election day. So you really don't need it, and I see his point. And for non-drivers, these are mandatory. They should have a non-driver's ID. Because people who up here in America who don't drive, you go to DMV and you get a non-driver's ID. That's your ID. So you don't have to walk around with your birth certificate or your passport. Social Security can't work up here because Social Security don't have on a picture. That's not an ID. Oh. But in any case, coming now to the COVID. Well, COVID, we have to see. The Bible says appointed unto man to die. You never tell us how or when. And I realize a lot of people want to protect themselves from COVID, protect the flesh, but they're not protecting the soul. And now for the presidency, the president already chosen in eternity, waiting to reveal in time. So whoever is president, God already knows. For me, God, have your way. Let your will be done. You have a blessed day.
Okay, I would have liked to ask her, what did she think? What does she think about the debate, irrespective of her belief that it is predetermined, it has been predestined? What does she think of the debate in terms of its quality? And she could very well call back and give me her opinion.
She did not listen to the debate. My stomach, I don't have the stomach for America politics.
So you did
I can't take it.
You did not listen?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right. Understood. Thank you.
You have a good day.
You too, sister. Thanks for calling. Let's take another caller. Hello?
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Blake.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I want to commend you how we're handling the program daily.
Thank you.
Yeah, in connection with the ID card, right? The ID card was introduced because of some people who supposed to do no better and son was not doing it. And according to the caller before, saying that some person got ID without foot into sink it. I mean, the system that the PLM who run the system that were trying to avoid certain things, they were aiding and abetting with corrupting the same system they're trying to improve.
Oh yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, but I think it's really man's decision and how they want to corrupt things and so on. That is why the world is running like that, and that is how our electoral system always have problem at the end of before and after election. Thanks for your time, brother. All the best, eh?
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. I think we have another caller. Okay. Hello? Hello? Yes, you're on.
You know, I'm going to be short.
Yes? No, that was too short. So we hope she calls back. Let's take another caller if there's one. Okay. All right. Now, it's interesting to really listen to what people think about these matters. And sometimes I wish we could go further than just entertaining these ideas and these suggestions on Frank and Candid. Because some of them are profound. Some of them are based on experience. Some of them are based on research. Some of them are based on observation. And some of them are really worth further analysis and examination. It's a pity, like I said, very often it stays here. Although, of course, this is good, you know, to be able to vent one's ideas, to be able to express oneself, to ask questions and make comments and so on is good. But I sometimes believe and hope and wish that we could go beyond that. And perhaps we shall help someday. Who knows? All right. Let's take this other caller. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Africa?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish to weigh in on the issue at hand. I just tuned in and I heard one or two callers mention about the ID. I'm not quite sure it was the topic you're basically.
No, it's an open line, so people are speaking on various issues.
But yes, an ID should be provided, be available for all citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis.
You mean a voter's ID?
No.
Oh, you're talking about a general ID?
In general.
Yes, even for youngsters, even for persons going to school.
Yes, because certain persons of age would require an ID for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily because of certain business entity, certain private entity, and they would require that. And so I think an ID should be provided for those who doesn't reach a certain age threshold, so that they can also able to maneuver, get around in the system without any, other
any issues, any problems.
Yes. But I did tuned into you yesterday, just almost at the closing minutes of your program, and you and a gentleman was somewhat dialoguing about an issue I really wanted to call in. I made an attempt to call in on the concept, the issue, the stigma of black this and black that. What are your take on it? You did mention a little bit on it, but what are your take? The consistency. You did mention a black market, right?
Yes, one caller did speak of that, and I was saying I don't really subscribe to this idea of referring to things that are negative with the
connotation?
with the handle black?
Because there is also the Black Sheep that we have known now.
There are quite a few of them, you know.
And the Black Friday and a couple others.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really my take. I really wanted to weigh in on that aspect and ask you, you know, what do you think it was because of certain stigmatization or because of it just connotes to?
Yeah, I think we don't have a lot of time to discuss that. We might well devote an issue to that. I'm going to invite the same guy to be a part of the panel here when we discuss this question. But the whole idea is that the practice of dubbing things which generally have a non-positive, a non-constructive, a non-forward-looking connotation with the handle black. I take issue with that, and I am not one of those who really use those terms. Although sometimes it's inevitable because the only way you get your point across and the only way other person will understand. But I think it's something we need to look at critically.
A moderator of a program.
Yeah. Hello?
Especially yourself as a moderator of a program. Sometimes you use it just to, you know.
Yeah, to make the point. Or
yes,
to get to facilitate understanding.
Personally, is up to you and would use it in a day-to-day, like a household name.
Right,
word,
okay.
So to speak. Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're close to running out of time. But I like the idea of someone, of every citizen in St. Kitts being subject to an ID of some kind, a national ID if you want to call it that, which has nothing to do with driving or voting or even social security. Every individual, perhaps when he reaches the age of 16, we know that legally one becomes an adult at 18, but one can get a social security card before the age of 18 anyway, even though your parents are technically and legally responsible for you before that age, until that age of 18. I like the idea of having national ID that every man jack can access once he reaches, I don't know, we'll have to determine what age that is, 13, 14, 15, 16, and so that is separate and apart from a social security card, for example, and certainly separate and apart from a driver's license, and so on. Right? It is one lady referred to it as a non-driver's ID. I'm not sure if that would be the correct term. I think a national ID card is good. For example, that which obtains in Cuba. Everybody gets an ID card from the time he reaches 15, right? A national ID, and you carry that with you throughout the rest of your life, which is separate, like I said, from other types of ID cards. However, whatever your national ID number is, that is what would appear on your driver's license, separate and apart from a driver's license number, you know, and separate and apart from your passport number and so on. But that number would appear on every other government issued document. So we can discuss that further. And this is what I'm saying. Instead of limiting the discussion to here on Franklin Candid, perhaps that should be taken up at a higher level, because to me it merits further discussion. It's something which has a lot of worth and could very well solve a lot of issues that we are experiencing with respect to IDs. All right, we're out of time for today, ladies and gentlemen. We did not get to discuss the CXC matter as we wish. We will try and do that yet another day. I think it's important for us to do that. I want to thank you for being a part of Franklin Candid today, Wednesday. We look forward to continuing the discussion with you tomorrow. Until then, do the right thing.
St. Kitts and Nevis, hear this. Europa Hardware, the official steel dealer for garden power tools, announces its big Europa 6th anniversary sale. Take advantage of 15% discount off on weed eaters with a 1-pound trimmer line and a 1-liter engine oil. Chainsaws, blowers, hedge trimmers, in fact, all steel machines